Hello my friends, and welcome back to another edition of Miami Revealed. Today is June 9th, 2024. As your host, Frank Pichel, here as always, welcome back. My friend Nelson Correa and my former partner Nelson, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Frank.
Nelson, we spoke on the last show a little bit about, a lot about the sheriff's elections here in Miami-Dade County that hasn't taken place in decades. But let's go back and see how our law enforcement departments are being run, or not run, but mismanaged. I want to call your attention to the Joe Seigie. Remember Joe?
I know Joe for many years.
So do I. And you know that he got fired by the Doral Police Department about 3 weeks ago.
Not only did I see it on the news, I saw Joe personally, and he told me about it. And it's a shame. It really is, because he brought to light some things that needed to be done to make the police department safer for those officers, and as a result, he gets fired.
Well, and that's the thing. See, our government is here to protect us. Instead, what they're doing is they're falsifying crime statistics, from tickets to arrests, every kind of arrest. And you know that happened to us when we were cops, and we try to bring to light all the falsification of arrests and manipulation of statistics just to make one person look good, and you couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, you couldn't.
And if you did, you know, you were a whistleblower, and even though there's these so-called whistleblower laws, it really doesn't have any teeth to protect you. Because as long as these traitors, and they are traitors because anybody that violates the Constitution of the United States is a goddamn traitor. I piss and shit on all of you. If this was a military court, I've had you all court-martialed, tried for treason, and hung in the morning, because you're destroying our nation, city by city, county by county, state by state.
Correct.
I'm not making this up. You see it every day, Nelson, don't you?
You see it every day. It's in the newspapers, it's in social media, it's everywhere.
And now, the Supreme Court is revisiting a lot of these cases where all this bad or fraud or lies were used to pass laws that only benefited the people they were trying to cover up for.
Correct.
You know, so here's Joe Seigie, 40-something years of police experience, a former deputy chief of police of the city of Miami, and was a major in the Doral Police Department. And his crime was to tell these ignorant, unexperienced bozo cops that we have now.
We're talking about the chief and his deputy chief.
Well, I'm talking about the entire police department, because if you know that something is wrong or illegal, why are you going to do it? Sooner or later, at the end of the day, those people that told you to do it, or you're trying to protect, or you're afraid of not doing it, are going to hand you up and say, no, he did it, not us. And then it's on you.
That's correct. Yes.
So, you know, Joe, all he did was say, hey, you're doing investigation improperly. And then on one particular shooting, at some bar or restaurant or nightclub, he claims that the investigation was done completely improperly. And just like the former chief of police of Biscayne Park was arrested.
Louis Cabrera.
No, the other one.
Biscayne Park, the
Yeah.
former chief is Luis Cabrera.
No, the one before that one
No, before Luis, yes.
that got arrested, finally by the FBI for doing exactly the same thing and served 2 years in a federal prison. Same thing they're doing here. And then you have this Mayor Christy Fraga. You know what? I like to give people names so you guys won't forget them and I won't. I like to say Mayor Christy Fraga is more accurate. And Christy, I don't care what you try to do to me or not. Joe has been my friend for 40 years, and you're doing exactly the same thing that the other idiots that run police departments or commission are doing. And we've had enough of your fraud, your lies, your betrayal, taking care of your friends, and screwing over the other ones that just because they don't agree with you on any topic, whether it be Democratic or Republican, they'll do anything just to destroy you.
Well, let's clarify something too. We're not doing this show as pro Joel Seigie because we're friends with him for 40 years. We're doing what's right. And we're bringing to light what is right. And what was done to him was not right. And that's why we're doing this show, not because we know Joe for 40 plus years or we're friends. Nothing to do with that. If Joe would have been wrong, we would have said the same thing despite whatever long we've known him.
Well, that's correct, because here, like I said, in the beginning of all the shows that at Miami Revealed, we want to bring you the truth based on what we read, but also on what we have experienced. And nobody pays us. We do this out of the desire to save our republic. Because we're living in the most uncharted waters in the history of the 20th century.
That's true.
Well, the 21st century now.
You say we don't get paid, and that's true. You don't see any commercials on this show that's sponsoring us so we can get paid. We're bringing to light what's the truth, like Frank said. What is the truth? And what we have lived and experienced because we were there. And that's very important.
That is because, look, anybody can spin you any stories, and these people have people that they use our tax dollars to spin stories just to say, oh, they're just mad or upset or disgruntled employee. And that's the best one of all. Anybody that blows a whistle on government corruption, the first thing they label you as is crazy or disgruntled employee.
They like that disgruntled employed.
Yeah, that's the one that works. And unfortunately, a lot of the public believes it because, oh, it's coming from the police department, it's coming from the mayor's office. But look at who's running the police department and who's running the mayor's office. Liars, thieves, and backstabbers. Cover up criminals that are only interested in their own personal gain, either to win favor with these traitor commissioners and mayors, so they can get their raise, make more money out of our tax dollars. Now, Nelson, you're retired, I'm retired. Taxes keep going up, don't they?
And we still make the same.
And if we don't do or follow whatever ludicrous or imbecilic idea they tell us, they'll use every agency possible at their disposal just to harass us and make our lives impossible.
I know. We witnessed it and we lived it.
And we still are. Because, yes, Joe is a friend of ours, but we didn't put him in the front pages. We didn't do this to him.
No.
We are commenting just as we comment on everything else that we know and see. Okay, the inflating of news articles has become pandemic, and pun intended, because the inflation of news articles is what caused the COVID so-called pandemic. That now we're learning and finding out throughout all these documents that the Supreme Court is revealing that all this was just a scam that cost us, I don't know how many billions of dollars.
That's how many lives.
And many lives. Because most people died from the injection instead of the virus.
And the treatments, the ventilators.
And so, if any one of us would have gotten up and said, hey, this is all a lie, and a lot of doctors did, and what happened to them? They got ostracized, they were called quacks, they were called anything and everything because they just wanted to discredit them. And now this so-called Dr. Fuzzy, or I would say Floozy, that's completely the biggest fraud to our nation and indeed our world to make a profit, because we're just treated like paid slaves. Keep working and don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Seigie did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. And I can assure you, not because he's my friend, I've been through this before. So that's Nelson. Whenever we brought up any type of misconduct or criminal activity or falsifying of anything, they would investigate us. Nelson, how many times did they follow you home, back and forth? The so-called internal affairs.
Countless times.
And all that because we were telling the truth. All that because we were trying to save the taxpayers' money. That's our job. That is what we swore to do. But these animals, these traitors, I will call them sons of bitches too, they think that because they have a higher rank than we do in the police department, that we work for them. And one of the things that I always, and you were there, and you did it too, and we would piss them off because we would tell them, no. We work for the city of Miami, the citizens of Miami. I don't work for you, asshole. You know, you just, the same idiot you were before you got promoted to this rank, and now you're abusing your rank because you want to show off. No, sir, am I lying?
No. And when you were a sergeant, you never said these guys worked for me. You always said they work with me.
Thank you for that, Nelson.
And everybody appreciated that. I know I certainly did, because you were a great sergeant.
Thank you.
And you never said they worked for me. You always said, that's my squad, they work with me.
And you know, Nelson, I got that. Thanks for bringing it up. I got that from being a refugee. And I have this, feeling of gratitude to this nation. And this nation was founded on slaves. And now we're going back to a system, or we have been back in a system where these jerks that have one more rank than you do, or 4 ranks more than you do, you have to do what they say. If not, they'll find ways to castigate you, to punish you, and to make your working environment a living hell.
Yes, it is. Hostile working environment, it's called.
Exactly. And
most cops suffer stress from within the department than they do from the streets and from being in the road. It's the internal that causes a lot of stress and heart attacks on police officers.
right, because 90% of the police officers, we want to do the right thing. We want to serve and protect. That's all we want to do. And then we are forced to conduct ourselves in a certain way that's expected. And that is, hey, shut up and do what you're told.
Yeah, and in this case, this is what happened with Joe Seigie. He brought us some things that needed to be brought up, and as a result, he got fired.
But Nelson, this is the thing. This is happening throughout the entire nation with police departments.
But I think it's similar to what happened to us every time we brought something up that was wrong. Like we said, collars for dollars.
Right.
We'll do a show on that separately, but We
Extensive.
brought something that only one lieutenant challenged and actually did something about it was George Fernandez.
Yep.
He did something about it, but nobody else wanted to deal with it.
But they shut him down.
They shut him down and we became public enemies for the police officers.
Well, we became police officer enemies, not the public. The public loved us. You know what? Because we were doing our job, serving and protecting. And
But when we were in charge of the intoxicated driver program, we saw a lot of abuse
yep,
that was happening there to be compensated for overtime in court. And we brought it up because that was our job to run the program, and it was very obvious what was happening. And like I said, only one lieutenant from the Midnight Squad, George Fernandez, went ahead and took charge and tried to do something about it. And why did he get?
castigated, tortured, mentally tortured. Folks, we just want to shine the light on all this corruption, because every day there's more and more coming out. We'll get into the pedophilia and human trafficking on our next show, but we want to finish by telling you that this sort of treatment for every police officer that says that's wrong, that's against the law, that violates the Constitution.
Well, Joe Seigie is suing the Doral Police Department, and he's going to win. So at the end of the day, a misconduct on behalf of the staff is going to cost the citizens a lot of money.
And there is what the problem is, because these people, they know that they got this thing called sovereign immunity. What's sovereign immunity? Well, if you didn't act in malice, you're immune from prosecution, including civil prosecution. But that's easy to overcome. All you need is one person that's within the lawsuit or the situation to say, yeah, we knew it was wrong, but they made us do it. And there goes that sovereign immunity. So, police officers, if you're forced to do any of the things that you know it's wrong, and the way to gauge that is just ask yourself, would I do this to one of my family members?
And document it. Make sure you document it by writing a memo to file of what you were asked to do, and do a memorandum and address it to file, your file, and address that on this day you were asked to do this and you have no choice but to do something that you felt, as long as it's not illegal. And we're not talking about illegal activity, we're talking about within departmental rules and regulations that you feel it's not correct. Document it and save it for a future date.
Because, well, like I was saying, ask yourself, would you want a police officer to do something wrong, illegal, or abusive to a family member, and or your family? Okay, because when I watch the news now, from every single state, the police abuse is always the same way. You know, always excessive force, always shut up and do what I tell you. What have I done illegal? Oh, you didn't do what I told you. Well, you're not here to guide me. I'm not your slave. You know, you're not the master. Okay? You're here to protect our lives and not tell us what to do. And if you tell us what to do, you're in violation of the Constitution.
And if you're a staff member, your responsibility is to make sure that those officers under your so-called command have the equipment, the knowledge by training of what they need to do so that they do the job correctly.
And impartially. Because our nation is under attack from within. And there's no better way to destroy an empire or a nation than from within. I was watching the news, unfortunately, about what's happening in France. I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, but that was coming. They should have seen that coming.
Well, you know, the same thing happened in Spain. And I remember, I think I told you about this. I remember when I went to Spain, I was sent by the city of Miami and the Miami Police Department. Now, I'm the worst guy on the planet, according to the city of Miami and the piece of shit city of Miami Police Department that has sold out to these corrupt politicians. They sent me to Spain to train their officers with a group of other officers. You know, and we trained them in things that they had no idea how to do it and what to do. And we taught them how to survive in gunfights, how to take cover, how to use good tactics, how to use concealment, or avoid just getting into a shootout. And the police officer told us, we have never seen so much crime ever in Madrid. And then the next day, I get invited to the mayor's office, which is a 300-year-old castle. And as I was entering the castle, they had a huge banner. We're going to put it up on the channel so that everybody can see it. And it said, now before I tell you this is the oxymoron, right? Before I tell you this, it said, refugees welcome. Now remember, I'm a refugee. So, but the mentality now is say, hey, we're here, feed us, give us money. Oh, and pay
the doors for it,
and pay for our kids' education.
And it's happening here too in the United States.
Exactly, that's why
They're getting a lot of our money to these illegals, and the border is unprotected.
the border I get a laugh because yesterday I saw the most incredible thing in my life. The nation of Mexico has deported over 400,000 Americans because they are destroying the economy and the Mexican people's way of life. Because it's cheaper to live in Mexico and use the dollar than live here, where the dollar is about the same equivalent as a peso in Mexico. So Mexico is now deporting American citizens.
Wow.
What the hell is this? I mean, are we just going to sit back and let the Gestapo goose step into the White House or into City Hall, which it already has, and let these imbeciles continue to militarize our police officers who are public servants? We paid them a lot of money to protect and serve. But
That's
now
correct.
it's about pay me more money, give me more cars or equipment, and and I don't want to handle too many calls. I don't want to respond to too many things.
I know, it's sad.
It's sad,
Where
but
it's going.
we have to do something about it. And I know there's a lot of people out there talking about we have to do this and do that. Well, we're doing our part. And we don't have to. But we have fought, bled, broken bones. How many riots, Nelson?
Oh, like countless.
Exactly. For things that you and I didn't do, but the politicians did it, and put all our lives at risk because of their arrogance and, their fraud, their greediness. Because it all comes down to two things, like always in human history: money and power. Both corrupt, absolutely. Both corrupt, absolutely. And I don't know why you're seeking it so much, because the power is not forever, and the money that you're embezzling, sooner or later somebody's going to find out. This asshole, the Portilla, was facing 30 years for money laundering and fraud and everything else. And it got up to him. And he's been a known criminal forever.
Yeah, I know.
Been arrested 7 times, has committed fraud, got thrown out of the Florida State Senate. So what does he do? He makes a deal with the president of the Miami Police, FOP, who I filed internal affairs complaints against, and they falsify the entire thing. Because he was going around with his badge, gun, and a radio, pretending to be the police endorsing de la Botella. I call him de la shit, which is what he is. And now he became the president of the FOP. So they promise him all these races and all these benefits if they voted for a certain person. Okay, that's the biggest fraud that there is. And I wish the governor would start a task force to investigate all this stuff that's happening, and it's happening in your face. And they say, yeah, we did it, so what?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it's gonna be.
If we did anything, it was so go to jail. But if they do it, so what? Fernandez Rondo, the bullshit state attorney, is never gonna do anything. Remember the time that, I don't know if you were there with me, that we took place, maybe not you, but I did, and the arrest of both of her career criminal sons for being crack heads and car thieves?
Yeah, I remember hearing about it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, but that's okay, because you're protected by the Miami or Cuban Mafia. Both of them, to me, are bullshit. All right? And we fled our nation, our home island, I don't know anything about it, to prevent all this stuff. And now they have infiltrated under our noses with illegal aliens that we give them millions of dollars that don't deserve. My father's 85 years old. He makes $1,400 a year a month in Social Security. So
They make more.
well, yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Father should leave, become a legal alien and come in.
No, unfortunately, he's a U.S. citizen.
Nobody should give up
So
citizenship and
well,
come in illegally.
because of that, he lives with me. 85 years old, living with me, because he can't afford to be anywhere else. However, Pepito or Juanito crosses the border, and Pepito and Juanito always have some Maria or Mariela that as soon as they set foot on U.S. soil, they drop 2 or 3 babies. And now the babies are American citizens. So what do you do with them? Right? Well, according to JoJo, brain dead, you give them benefits. And you pay for school, college, and medication.
I think we're running out of time in this segment.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very interesting topic, and we'll continue this in another time. Nelson, thanks a lot for being here once
My
again.
pleasure.
And well, we should continue the fight by telling you the truth. God bless you. God bless Donald Trump.